When I was about 10 years old, I lived in the Fox Harbor Apartments in Paducah, Kentucky. If you look up the address, you will see some woods just to the north of the apartment complex. My friends and I played in those woods every day after school and all day on the weekends. Through the few years I lived there, we cleared a small area in the woods and created a fort from various things we got out of dumpsters. It was our own place that no one else knew about, and it was awesome. One day, as we were walking to our fort, off in the distance, we saw a man walking through the woods. He was walking parallel to us, but in the opposite direction. There were about 80 yards separating our paths. We stopped talking and stopped dead in our tracks when we saw him. We never saw anyone in those woods, especially not adults. When we stopped moving, he did too. He turned towards us and looked right at us. As I stared at him and was able to make out the details of what he looked like, I noticed that he was wearing what looked like a Halloween mask. What terrified me was he was carrying an axe in his hands. We stood there in silence and motionless for what was probably about 10 seconds. Then he started sprinting straight at us. We did the only thing we apparently thought to do. We ran straight to our fort. We were probably about 50 yards from the entrance to the fort, and in those 50 yards, he gained a lot of ground on us. When we finally made it, he was upon us. All of my friends scurried up a tree and were screaming, but I was the last in line. By the time I could try and climb the tree, he was standing right there by us. He was screaming like a lunatic and waving the axe in the air. I was scared, had no idea what was going on, and my mind was blank on what I should do. I grabbed a large stick and took a nice big baseball bat swing and cracked him on the face with it. He stumbled back a bit, moaned, and took the mask off. I recognized the face. It was the landlord and manager of the apartment complex, a man who was probably about 50 years old. He wanted to play a joke on us and thought this was the most appropriate thing to do. What a psycho. He was carrying a real axe, for Christ's sake. Please drop a like and subscribe for more scary stories. This incident happened when I was around 16 years old. My aunt was in town, and we were on our way back from the grocery store to my mom's place. To provide some context, my parents are divorced, and my mom lives in a rural area about a 10-minute drive from anywhere. As we pulled into our driveway, a black car followed us. My aunt and I stayed in our vehicle, and a man exited the black car and approached our driver's side door. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he gave off a creepy vibe. Pasty skin, intense staring eyes, and just an overall strange demeanor. He claimed to be lost, looking for directions to a fitness center in the next town over. It's the same fitness center a minute away from the grocery store. It struck us as odd, but I gave him directions. Despite thanking me, he continued to stare and asked if we knew each other, to which we replied, no. He provided his name, but I emphasized that we had no connection. After some awkward moments, he asked for my name. Feeling uneasy, I made the mistake of telling him. He confirmed that we didn't know each other, returned to his car, and we watched him drive off. My aunt and I agreed he was peculiar, but we brushed it off and started taking the groceries inside. To reach the back door where we had parked, taking a long, winding path behind the house was necessary. While my aunt went out to grab the remaining groceries, I settled on the living room couch and glanced outside. The black car was still in the driveway. My aunt came upstairs, explaining that the guy was almost at our door, claiming he forgot the direction she'd given him. It was just right, left, and right. Simple directions following the main roads. We were both spooked, but fortunately, we never saw him again. A month later, I was at my dad's place. I posted something on Facebook about being bored. From this, I learned an important lesson to always set your page to private. Within minutes, I got a message from the same guy, asking if he could come over. Home alone and rightfully terrified, I immediately blocked him and informed my dad. He reached out to one of his cop friends, discovering that the guy had been expelled from a local university for stalking. He had 2 other stalking counts and a restraining order against him. Another month passed, and during study hall, a friend shared a story about a guy stalking his older sister. The shocking part was that this stalker had almost forced my friend's sister off the road in an attempt to make her pull over. When she did, the stalker approached her vehicle, but my friend wisely drove away. It didn't take me long to connect the dots. The stalker in my friend's story and the creepy guy I encountered were the same person. Fast forward 6 months, news articles confirmed his arrest for attempting to kidnap 3 different women within an hour. He failed in all attempts, but he nearly ran over the last woman's father who was with her at the time. The entire experience left me profoundly disturbed. I took my ex-girlfriend to Red Rocks one evening. It's a natural amphitheater that is sometimes used for concerts just out of Denver. If there isn't a concert going on, it's just a park that you can run around in. We got down to the stage without being bothered. Then we see a silhouette of some guy not far away. He's creeping around trying to be quiet, but I could make out his shape, while my ex could hear him breathing heavily. We go up a few rows of steps and make a big circle around him to get to the steps. The guy is following us. We climb the stairs, looking back at him. He'd creep from seats to the side of the wall. He must have thought he was being stealthy, and he followed us up like that. I had my ex run for it with the car keys while I half ran, keeping myself between her and the guy. At this point, the guy is following us, doing an ape-like impersonation by running with his hands on the ground and grunting. He was almost leaping on all fours and was gaining on us. When we got to the car, the creepy dude was gone. My ex unlocked the doors while I looked around. We get in quickly and the guy comes from behind another car as I started. He slams on my windshield a few times, yells something I don't understand and runs off. Thankfully, we got away safely. That person was probably on something pretty powerful. I work as a barista in a coffee shop inside this big store. I'm one of the few guys on the barista squad, and I'm pretty open about being gay. I got pride shoes, a flag on my name tag, the whole shebang. One day, I'm manning the register, and this dude strolls up and flashes a smile. I figure he spotted the pride flag on my tag, but he doesn't mention it right away. He's all undecided about what to order and asks for my recommendation. Now, I'm no coffee connoisseur, but I can suggest a decent drink. As I'm talking, though, I notice he's more into checking me out than listening to my coffee wisdom, which, hey, I'm cool with. This guy's on the shorter side, but built, with killer eyes and a nice beard. He settles on some super sweet ice drink, and I whip it up. Meanwhile, a co-worker leans over and whispers, "I think that dude just snapped a pic of you." Weird, right? I brush it off and hand him the drink. He loves the pride flag and asks where to snag one. I tell him I got it at a pride event a while back. Then he said, "Where can I get the person it's attached to?" I feel my cheeks blush, but I keep it professional. He grabs his drink, sits at a table, and from there, things get odd. He's staring at me whenever I glance his way, not even touching his drink. During my break, I offer to remake it, but he's not sure if it's too sweet. Then he asks me to taste it. I politely decline since I don't do coffee, even if I work in a coffee shop. Then he starts with weird questions like, "Do you lift? And how many pounds can you lift?" Red flags pop up. His questions and behavior feel off, like he's sizing me up for a fight or something. I cut the chat short and get back to work. He keeps sitting there, not sipping his drink and taking phone calls. I start feeling more eyes on me. I'm not sure if I am being paranoid, but I saw a man pass by outside our shop a couple of times, and he exchanged subtle glances with the guy. I tell a manager, and they say they'll keep an eye on him. Closing time rolls around, and he's still there. He asks to walk me to my car when I'm off, but I tell him it's a 45-minute process after closing. He insists he'll wait and asks when I'm working next. I say I'm off for a couple of weeks. Now, he's all, "I should walk you to your car, especially if I might not see you for a couple of weeks." It's a hard pass for me. I decline, finish closing, and head to the employee area. I ask a manager if I can use the side exit, because things are feeling weird. They agree and offer to walk with me to my car. I'm cool with it, so we head out. As I drive off, I notice a sketchy van with tinted windows parked up front. No idea if he's in there, but I'm not about to find out. I take the long way home. So, to the hot guy I served coffee to, I hope we do not meet again. Unless, of course, I misread things and he was just terribly socially awkward. I'm glad that you're here with us today. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy a good scare. As always, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.